And the calling the meeting to order. Start out with the pledge of allegiance. Republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay. Before I get the roll call, one of the people I will be calling is our new board member, Joe Cotton. I want to welcome to the board and look forward to your participation. I know that with your financial acumen and background, you're doing great position. Also, Joe. Welcome. Thanks. And with that, I'll call the roll. Liptak. Here. Senator Brewster.
Here.
Anna Ward.
Here.
Representative Espinosa.
Here.
Joe. You. Lori.
Here.
Dante. Here. Stephanie Curran.
Here.
Allie Doyle.
Here.
Michelle Zienick.
Here.
Right. Okay. One other note before we go to approval minutes is that you can see some requests we've had the American Sign Language over here to and people require that for and so with that, I'm going to the approval of minutes from our July 28th meeting, which will probably do not meet in August, and a motion for approval of those minutes. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, they're approved. And with that, we'll move on to the report of Chief Executive Officer, Kevin Keller. Yeah.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, and good morning to everyone. I will start off by saying, anytime we're in a city that this many people care about transit, you're in a good place. So regardless of what motivation you have for being at the meeting, thank you for coming here and making your time on a Friday. And good morning, Fred. It's always good to see you. May I please have a moment of silence for the following active and retired employees who have passed away since we last met. Operators John Hay, Earl Rogers, Eileen Morris, Kevin Flannery, and Ronald Trovich. Road Operations Supervisor Frank Canazzo, Garage Foreman Timothy Petrak, Electronic Maintainer Carl Worm, Auto Mechanic Carlo Giovanni, Manager of Real Estate Arthur Hussey, Servant Person James Dandridge, and Janitor Charles Dixon. If you have a moment of silence. Thank you, and good morning again. So I will say I am thrilled about this full house while we are recognizing our 17 operators who had the greatest number of commendations in 2021 and 2022. Now, there's a reason we call them operators, not just drivers. They are driving a 15 to 22 ton vehicle, providing customer service, crisis intervention, marriage counseling, wayfinding, and a whole host of other things while navigating through traffic that has gotten more challenging with people who might not be as happy as they used to be. In situations that could bring out the worst in a lot of us, they bring the best of themselves every single day that they come in and work in our region. Wow, 3 times the length of an average minivan. Did you know how big that bus is? Wow, that time is pretty big. Narrow streets, all kinds of crazy traffic. You only have to go around Pittsburgh once to realize some streets only go up, even if you think you can come down. You are empathetic, very kind, patient. So many of our employees do an amazing job, the unsung heroes, and it's great to see some folks today. So when I call your name, please come on up. We're going to have some DSDs too. We will present you your certificate. We'll do one photo at the end with the entire board, and then we'll do photos at our luncheon later. So are you guys ready to recognize some amazing people? Woo! Ready. Well, but there'll be the people here. Pull down the TV screen. Okay, from Ross Division, Mr. McNeil is happily joined, I hope, Kevin Joa. Carlisle Mr. United Way Stokes. And Carlisle is currently on a special handling liaising of United Way with ATU. And I am proud to say that our United Way collects more per capita than a lot of other transit agencies. So excellent work to the folks here. James Bonner again. Omar Ingram. William Scott. It says Suzanne instead of Sue Scan. We just Stephens. And it's William Valencourt. Right, Ron's go away. From Collier. From Collier, we have Amy Jackson. And Todd Cardillo. While Todd is coming up, I want to remind, just like everywhere else, when people are mad, they text, they tweet. It's really easy. It's much harder to get somebody motivated to do accommodation. And the fact that these operators continue to deliver service, they get commendation after commendation. This is excellent work. This is excellent work. From West Mifflin, who do we have from Mifflin today? All right, Cindy, very good. Stephen Aaron. John. Amanda Dalton. Like the blend between Johnny Cash and Bill Owen. I like it. And Mark Cheek. Okay, he's Drake, come on up. Adam Jackson. I already asked if his beard was for breast cancer awareness. He said, yeah. And Leslie Johnson. Now, if you have your citation, get ready to come back up, because after we conclude with the village, we're doing one big photo up here, okay? So from South Hills Village, who do we have from the village today? All right, hi, good morning. Carol. Everybody come on up, it is pictures. Come on up, picture time. And please remember, these operators drive 50,000 miles a year. 3 million miles within a long career. The average driver in the US, he will drive from age 16 to 91 to get 1 million miles. So it would be like driving until you were 270 to drive as much as these folks do. Remember, they drive while doing their job, which is taking care of Allegheny County. So let's give them another round of applause. Mr. Taking the photos.
I can't come around back.
We can sit down, but we stay
Okay.
like 5 every day. Behind us.
Good job.
That's good. Right,
No, that was super helpful direction. Appreciate it.
So you said, I was like, you can share. Work. Yeah.
Is Diane in the way? Oh,
Thanks, everybody.
While our operators make it look easy, it is absolutely not. Potholes, vendors, detours, dare I say sinkholes, or is it too soon? It is a challenging job, and the job is not that easy. Starting in November 2020, we moved service with the pandemic. Some folks are riding less, and some folks are riding more. And we had an opportunity to address an out of service. That's where we have service scheduled, not an operator. Now, the schedule we put out should be a contract with our passenger, but it's also a contract with those folks in the back of the room. We get a promise that the work we get is the work that can be done. Through the pandemic, we and a lot of other cities in the US were hit with employment or other issues going on. Fewer people are available, retirements are up. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, we have, good morning, Mr. Bangwani. It's on here. We have had the weakest job recovery in the country. We are 40th out of 40 in major metros. That's from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. We've recently ticked over, or under, I should say, the national average unemployment. We're under 2.3%. It is hard to hire in Allegheny County, even for a job which is not challenging. So while our peers in other cities went after 5, 10, 20% service cuts to tear off a Band-Aid and then nits and tucks afterward, we decided as an agency, and let me be clear, I decided, I take responsibility for this, that we would use a scalpel instead of a chainsaw. So instead of 5% coming out at a pop, maybe 0.5%, maybe moving things around. Now, what does this mean for our workers? They might have another trip on their day. The relief gets congested, it starts to shrink down. The day gets longer. The schedule goes from okay to optimistic. Now add on top of that a 2-year backlog of construction, and it gets kind of spicy. Put in bridges that don't even have to fall down to be closed, and it gets worse. I was at Collier Garage yesterday, and construction on Washington Pike means almost every single bus is already late before that operator starts their run. Our folks are set up to fail. They're tired, they're stressed out. Adding in on top of that, anything that breaks or tweaks a route, and the schedule is absolutely not going to happen. We often get 2 weeks heads up for construction, and we can't be responsive for another 4 months. And just as it's frustrating the passengers, the operators are frustrated too. They take the brunt of people who are upset, people who have a late trip, people who just want to get to their job. and through no fault of anybody that's on that bus driving it, they can't make it. You are frustrated, the operator bears that up. So when we get the luxury of knowing ahead of time that we have something disruptive coming through, we jump on a chance to get around that. It's absolutely true that the BRT service that we're calling PRTX University Line can start in 2 years. It's also true that construction has already started on this and already is hitting the buses that travel through downtown. That construction is going to go on for the better part of 2 years, and it won't be at the same intersection. It will fluctuate, it will roll, it will rotate. And the 61s and 71s that come through downtown turn into other services. Your operator doesn't just drive the 61 all day. They might drive the 61 in the morning and a different route in the afternoon. And if this construction makes them late getting in, that next route will be late. It doesn't even have to be a lunch break. A 71 might get to the end of the line and turn into a different route. And when we are late downtown, now that route is late again. Simply put, when downtown is crazier than it usually is, and we know it's crazy, and we add the extra construction, leaving so much service there means we're going to mess up that network for everybody. We've already talked to you and you tell us about out of service. You've already had a chance that your trip might not be there. Compounding this with routes that end up running late or getting squeezed tighter, we are not delivering high quality, reliable, dependable transportation that you deserve. And we are not giving the folks who drive these buses an opportunity to do their best job. They deserve a break. They deserve a lunch. You deserve to have an operator who's gotten their blood pressure down so they can give you the best service possible. And it's not just about making service. It's giving our operators the opportunity to be relieved so we can meet with the ATU schedule committee more than once every 3 months to talk about schedules. We hear about a schedule that's already out, make plans for a schedule that doesn't exist, and you see where this gets us. To meet with that schedule committee more, we need to be able to relieve them. We don't have the ability to have folks on service protection buses downtown or in McKeesport. So if there's a disruption, we can get there. And critically, we don't have the opportunity to get operators off the buses so we can have town halls and we can talk about what's going on with schedules. We can get that feedback so they don't end up on the street exhausted saying, I don't know what's going on. It doesn't work for anybody. So it's not just reliable service for you to set your tables by. It's reliable for our staff to do so they can do their jobs and they can know that they can go home for a soccer game or an anniversary or a birthday party. They're not so late that they miss these important things in their lives. So when it comes to route planning, we've got science and we've got art. We have really great data of who's getting on the bus where and how far they go, right? We can do automatic checks. We check in person. We see where fares are going. We have really good information on what's going on the routes. Still just data. Data can tell me that starting on Sunday, 97% of the folks on the 61 and 71 can still get their same trip at a bus stop. But for the 3% who don't get that trip, it's irrelevant. Data can also tell me that 99% of our folks within a 5-minute trip can still get to a bus stop. It gives them that same trip without a transfer. Data tells me that everywhere you get today, you can get there, even if you have a transfer, even if it takes longer. That's the data. That's not the art of where is your stop that you've seen forever. Where is the service that you know which is reliable? If you have any level of constraint getting around these streets, that 5 minutes is not the same 5 minutes it is across the board, and making a transfer can be a challenge. So that is what the data tells us, and the art is a different execution. I don't know how to square them up. Sometimes it comes together just great, and sometimes it does not. What I do know is if we don't address the things we can see, which is a downtown construction, fewer people coming into downtown on these routes, and just downtown traffic in general. If we don't address what we know, then everywhere else throughout this network is going to feel that impact because we will continue to have road closures. We will continue until our economy changes. We're going to continue to have a lot of times where it's hard for us to make that trip. We're going to continue in a situation where these operators are challenged. And if we don't face what we know is a problem, we're going to be much, much more constrained going forward. So it is a transfer. It could be that you have a bus every 3 minutes and now you'll have a bus every 8. Or you might have a bus every 4 minutes now, but you have to transfer. It's different. It's not good. You may have had a great stop and now you're catching the bus around the corner. I have caught the bus on the side of the state road in Texas looking at shelter in the summer. I've had a commute pattern where every stop I had was unprotected in Florida, and I took a change of clothes, and I also dodged the cockroaches and had to use a shower when I got to work. We can have a total difference in quality of our trip from one stop to another, and we know that too. But we do know that with this change, we're in a much better position to run this service reliably, maintain that service, and get a high quality service out there that our operators and our passengers deserve. Unfortunately, my job might be looking at a whole network. And if I have to take care of an entire network, someone is going to be unhappy with me, but the whole network is how we rise and fall. We have routes based on what the city looked like 60 years ago. We can't even address Pittsburgh of today. And if we want to make it into the future, we'll be looking for a network which is high quality, reliable, and dependable for everybody. Mr. Chairman, if there's no questions, that concludes my report.
Thanks, Kevin. Very
Thanks,
much. Okay, so we'll get into some of the business now and start off with a report of the Performance and Oversight Committee from Michelle Manick. Michelle?
Good morning. Good morning, Mr. Chair. Good morning, everyone. The Performance Oversight Committee met last week, and I have 4 resolutions for your consideration. The committee first reviewed 4 procurement items and determined the bids to be in accordance with PRT's procurement policies and procedures and prices fair and reasonable. The Performance Oversight Committee recommends the award of bids listed in the resolution for the total amount of $1,113,036.44. My fellow members, I respectfully request the board approve this resolution.
We have a motion?
So moved.
We have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, that motion carries.
The second resolution is to authorize PRT to convey real property to B&D Amic Properties LLC. In November 1996, PRT acquired vacant property along the West Busway in Carnegie during the construction of the busway. After identifying the property as excess, PRT publicly issued a request for bids for the purchase of the property. A minimum asking price of $22,000 was based upon appraisals of the property by state certified appraisers. B&D Amic Properties LLC submitted a timely bid for the purchase of the property. The Performance Oversight Committee recommends authorizing PRT to convey the property to B&D Amic Properties LLC for the sale price of $27,500, subject to FTA concurrence due to the federal funds utilized by PRT to acquire the property. My fellow members, I respectfully request the board approve this resolution.
May I have a motion?
So moved.
For a second? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any opposed? Yeah, that motion carries.
The next resolution authorizes PRT to purchase a parcel of land near the intersection of Forbes Avenue and McNulty Drive that is owned by Duquesne University. As the BRT project has advanced and construction activities have begun for the project, this parcel of land will be used for a BRT bus station. PRT made an offer, which was supported by an appraisal report prepared by state certified appraisers to Duquesne University to purchase the parcel. The Performance Oversight Committee recommends authorizing PRT to enter into an agreement in lieu of condemnation for PRT to acquire the property for the purchase price of $44,250. My fellow members, I respectfully request the board approve this resolution.
May I have a motion?
So moved.
For a second? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
The final resolution authorizes PRT to adopt a collective bargaining agreement with Port Authority Transit Police Association covering sergeants and lieutenants. In an attempt to attract and retain officer representatives from PRT and the Port Authority Transit Police Association engaged in good faith bargaining to reach a new agreement. Recently, and subject to ratification by both parties, PRT and the Police Association agreed on proposed terms and conditions for an amended agreement to be effective August 1st, 2024 through July 31st, 2025. It was reported at the meeting that the Police Association has ratified the proposed terms and conditions for the amended agreement. The Performance Oversight Committee recommends the approval and ratification of the proposed terms and conditions of the amended agreement summarized in Exhibit A attached to the resolution. My fellow members, I respectfully request the board approve this resolution.
May I have a motion? So moved. A second? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Michelle.
Finally, Mr. Chair, I have one more item. Staff represented the financial year 2023 physical inventory audit report. It was reported that the financial year 2023 inventory was conducted in a manner that provides reasonable assurance that the inventory items were accurately counted, adjustments to on-hand quantities were recorded correctly. The cutoff process was properly followed for the requisitions and the receipts issued, and significant variances were resolved and recorded. Mr. Chair, that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. With that, we'll move on to the report of planning and stakeholder relations. Chair.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chair,
So,
I would, pardon me, I do want to make a clarification. Usually we do the entire planning and stakeholder committee report together. We have one item for consideration on this agenda, which is related to a route changing on Sunday. On this agenda, the board is accepting a Title VI analysis for Route P17. Route P17 is seeing a doubling of service with the October schedule change. It serves primarily minority and lower income areas. While this is a benefit to our populations that we serve, federal rules require that we do a separate analysis even on a service addition. As a clarification, the board voted in March on the Title VI analysis for the schedule changes that go into effect on Sunday. And the board voted in May to accept the schedule changes which are proposed for October. So the item that the board will vote on today is accepting analysis specific to Route P17. Just want to make sure that folks understand there is not action which is being taken today or which is up for a vote that is impacting the routings of the 61s and the 71s.
thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, John.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, fellow board members and stakeholders. Now, there'll be some repetition of what Catherine said in her report. But there are several, we had the stakeholders relations committee met last week, and there were several items for the board to take a look at. First, Director of Transit Scheduling, Philip St. Pierre, presented a recap of the October 2023 PRT major service changes. Beginning October 1st, Route 61B, 71A, 71C, 71D will terminate at the western end of Oakland and no longer serve uptown and downtown Pittsburgh. In advance of the VRT project construction downtown and uptown, those routes will now be designated with the short head signs. Staff will be in the field to assist riders with information through October 5th, along with print, audio, and online messaging designed to assist riders. A public information session was held on September 12th and concerning regarding transfers were identified. According to Title VI analysis, 97.7% of riders of these routes are directly served by the downtown bound one seat ride at their same bus stop, while 99% of riders will have one seat rides within a 5-minute walk. These 3% of riders will identify as paying fares with cash. Public meetings on these changes began in 2017 and continued through 2018, and a formal public comment period began November 2022, which received more than 700 responses. Overwhelmingly opposed changes to the E3 route, which BRT has deferred a decision on while additional analysis is completed. The board adopted these changes accept the P3 in March 2023. The second item, Allegheny County Transit Council, met on September 27th. Acting Chief of Development Officer, who actually Amy L.A. Newman, the Assistant Director of Planning and Service Development, is there in her place. PRT presented the Title 60 report for the P17 service changes. President of the ACTC, Ralph Williams, presented proposed code of conduct bylaw amendment during their section of the meeting. There were a new scheduled meeting. The next meeting is scheduled for October 25th. Third item, the Committee on Accessible Transportation did not meet in September. Their next scheduled meeting is for November 3rd. And Catherine had mentioned the fourth item. There is one resolution that I intend to present for the board's consideration. I will do so after the public comment period has concluded. And that's the news of my report, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Tague. Any questions from Mr. Tague? Okay, then we'll move on to the report of the Finance Committee, Commander of Works, Chair.
Good morning, Chair and fellow board members. The Finance Committee met last week and I have one resolution for approval which authorizes PRT to enter into an agreement for Chief Investment Officer Services. In July 2023, an RFP was issued to obtain a contractor to provide oversight of the defined benefit consolidated pension plan, deferred compensation plan, and money purchase plan. The consolidated pension plan is a closed pension plan representing the non-represented IBEW and least active employees of retirees. The RFP was publicly advertised and 3 proposals were received. It was determined that the proposal of Marquette Associates Inc. was the highest graded proposal. Marquette would utilize the services of Financial Integrity Resources Management as a certified DPE subcontractor. The Finance Committee recommends entering into an agreement with Marquette Associates Inc. for an initial term of 3 years, with an option to extend up to an additional 2 years at PRT's sole discretion, for the total not to exceed amount of $718,000. My fellow members are respectfully request for approval of this resolution.
I have a motion for approval.
So moved.
You have a second?
Second.
Any
Second.
discussion? Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that motion carries.
The July and August financial results were also presented at last week's meeting. It was reported that total operating income for the month of July was over budget by $700,000 due to higher passenger revenue and investment income. Total expenses for the month of July were below budget by $5.9 million due to lower wages and benefits and all other expense. Total operating income for the month of August exceeded budget by $100,000 primarily due to higher investment income. Total expenses for the month of August were $4.3 million below budget due to lower salary, wages, materials, and all other expenses. Total operating income is $2.5 million higher than last fiscal year to August due to higher passenger revenues and investment income. Total expenses through August are $2.6 million higher than last fiscal year due to higher wages and benefits, materials, and access expense. It was also reported at the meeting that PRT invoiced $7.1 million against the ARPA and CRISA federal stimulus programs and ended the month of August with approximately $265.8 million in cash reserves. So unless there are any other questions, that concludes the Finance Committee report.
Are there any questions? Good, thanks, Ann. Now we'll move on to the report of the Technology Committee from Government Connections here.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good morning, everyone. The board met, the Technology Committee, I should say, met on September 21st. We just have one resolution today. We reviewed a bid to renew the OKTA OCTAC multi-factor authentication software licenses and a total estimated amount of $593,286. The committee determined the bid to be in accordance with our PRT procurement policies and procedures, and those prices to be fair and reasonable. With that, I respectfully request that the board approve this resolution.
May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? And that motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right, we have no new business, so we're gonna move into public comment. We have 31 speakers signed up for public comment today, so I want to remind every speaker that there is 3 minutes presentation, which we, because of the crowd, we're going for it. The letter. So when you hear the bell from our exit building, I leave them and please terminate your remarks. You know, much longer. I apologize in advance for leaving and roughly about one of the still submit written items anytime you want. So if you don't finish your speech or you prepare remarks and want to see them, we'll take it back. So with that, I'd like to start public comment with Ramesh from Bwani. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. 35 miles probably. I'm writing on behalf of the St. Edwards community to request 2 important improvements to our public transportation structure. Firstly, we kindly request the installation of a bus shelter with a bench at bus stop 6577. Currently, this stop lacks adequate shelter, leaving passenger exposed to adverse weather conditions. Adding a shelter with seating would greatly enhance the comfort and safety of commuters who rely on this stop. Secondly, we urge you to consider establishing a new bus stop at the intersection of Wilkinson Road and Cedars Boulevard, preferably at the stoplight. Currently, our residents face significant 1-mile walk to reach the nearest bus stop. This gap poses challenges for those with mobility issues or facing difficulties in walking long distance. Adding a bus stop at this intersection would greatly reduce these challenges, making public transportation more accessible. We understand the constraints you may face, but believe that these enhancements would significantly improve public transportation in our area. We are willing to collaborate, seek funding opportunity, or provide support to facilitate these improvements. Enhancing access to public transportation benefits the community, promotes the sustainability, and ensure the equitable access to essential services. Thank you for your commitment to providing a reliable public transportation service to Pittsburgh residents. We look forward to your positive response and the opportunity to discuss these matters further. Yours sincerely, Ramesh Bhamwal. Thanks, Brahman. Thank you. Okay, so next speaker is Laura Perkins. Laura.
Morning, my name is Laura Perkins. I'm the human rights organizer at Casa Sacrosi. We serve the Spanish-speaking community in Southeast PA. I'd first like to welcome the new board member and ask if the new board member could commit to taking public transit at least once a month so that you have personal lived experience in the Pittsburgh area. Secondly, I'd like to address the issues of anticipated work at the Velasco stop with the Red Line and Beachview. Last year, the red line was down because of a faulty bridge, as was mentioned earlier. And we did an impact study. One person twisted their ankle and was injured for 3 weeks trying to catch another bus because the shuttle never showed up. People had to raise their monthly family budgets with a pretty low income people living there. We spoke with 26 individuals that gave us the financial impact on the inadequate shuttles. And an average of $2,475 was lost per individual, not even talking about families. So when the Velasco stop goes down, we're very excited for the accessibility improvement with the Velasco stop. But there needs to be a much better plan in place instead of emergency shuttles as for volunteer drivers at the beginning of each day. When we're talking about language access, no one uses the signs that are put up for language access. Although logistically it looks like it would make sense, our non-English speaking community, they do not use that service. So I'm asking that with Red Line, and when we talk about data, how important data is, 30% of Red Line users speak Spanish. It is a fact. I'm happy to share my data with you and how I got that data. As a bilingual person, I personally gathered that data and it has been verified. So please just make announcements for the red line in Spanish. Speaking of which, I've offered my services to record audio recordings in Spanish. Call me up. I'm going to leave my business cards. Call me at any time and I'll come down and record that new announcement in Spanish. I'm happy to do it. Or if you want someone with a different accent from a different country, I will get you that person within 24 hours. We will help you make that announcement. Speaking of replacement services, a lot of people are here to talk about the PRT and the cuts, the 61 and 71 routes. I think that the connection between the red line being down and the BRT replacement is that we need better replacements. So for Casa San Jose, we have essential medical services in Oakland, and people have to come through downtown to get to Oakland. Salud para Niños is one of the few low-income non-medical insurance providers for our community, and also McGee Hospital, where most of our women give birth, and our people have to come downtown to transfer. So in review, one, new board member, we ask that you take public transit at least once a month. Two, plan for red line outages and do not use emergency shuttles. For the replacement for
Thank you,
BRT,
Ms.
2
Burke.
years is not enough. And lastly, I will record in Spanish for you. Just call me.
Thank you.
Woo!
You're in 80 cities. I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly.
Yeah, you got it.
I might. I apologize.
Been here before.
Okay, I timed this. Hopefully I get through it. Good morning. Thank you for your time today. My name is Amy Zace. I'm a Parkway resident of Beachview. I'd like to talk to you today about the upcoming changes to the 61 and 71 lines. For many riders, including myself, it's not clear why these changes are being made. I attended the September 12th informational meeting. I heard how these changes are part of the long-term BRT plans and were decided on a long time ago, before I even moved here in 2021. But I also heard a lot of emphasis put on the reason being the operator shortage, in addition to improving efficiency. First of all, I suspect the framing this change around the operator shortage is dishonest at best. Is the change necessary because it's part of a 10-year plan, or is it because of the operator shortage, a fairly new problem? To blame the operator shortage feels disingenuous to me, and why I'm angry the most. That's why I'm here today. PRT has been awfully silent about what you're actually doing to address the operator shortage, despite the impacts felt by riders. Kellerman talked about it earlier. Now you want to tie the shortage to these service cuts as if the service cuts are something you're doing to address the shortage. It just doesn't make sense to me. Let me tell you, as a rider, I've routinely experienced extremely high rate of out-of-service trips all summer. Let's get into the data. My closest line is the red line. It's scheduled to make 144 trips every weekday. Just Monday, a few days ago, 4 trips were put out of service. That's 2.5% of trips that day. That's a really good day. I've chronicled on my social media account days and weeks throughout the summer where an average of 10% or more of trips were just canceled. That promise you're making to the riders is broken. In April of this year, you, the board, adopted a service standard of keeping out-of-service trips under 1.5% system-wide. The public deserves to know what steps you're actually taking to address the operator shortage and meet your publicly stated service standards, other than using it as an excuse to shoehorn in unpopular service reductions. It's not fair. Second, I feel PRT has been extremely opaque in defining what efficiency is, one of the main goals of this service reduction. I would ask the board respectfully, efficiency for whom? Who does this change benefit? Who does it hurt? Though these changes will not impact me personally in a significant way, I'm concerned they more heavily impact those with disabilities. I don't think it's fair or necessary that you sacrifice a lifeline service for them just to create efficiencies for your bottom line. Heard a lot of metrics brought up to justify the limited impact of these changes, but what percentage of those who are impacted are disabled or pay with cash? I think I heard earlier it was like almost all of them pay cash. Anyways, ultimately, PRT, including you, the board members, are accountable to us, the public, and you need to answer the public when we tell you that these changes are going to hurt ridership. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Morning. You held 0 public hearings of the closing of the 5th transportation provider, First Transit, now Transdev. All due to one simple sentence in a contract that could have been removed. That a broker cannot be a provider. Really? In college, in my law classes, the godfather of contract law at Duquesne University taught us that as long as all the parties agreed, you could take something out or put something in. So now the fallout of the 5th, they're pushing this closing. You're not letting families know that grandma can't go. Your senior complimentary trips. The church came to me last week and they said, Sister Mosey, is access being closed? I said, what are you talking about? So I did not know this senior complimentary trips paid for by Pennsylvania Lottery. By order, I'll leave her name out of it. Callers are denying seniors those trips. So I guess if you're 75 and you're not disabled, even though your cognitive skills, not knowing when the last time you changed your underpants might not be good, they're leaving these people stranded at home. This poor lady thought, I called her, she hasn't been to church for over a month. She thought that she was being targeted because she gave somebody a Bible when they asked her for one. Your transfer trips. Smithfield, when the transfer happens there, beautiful bathrooms. If I have a long layover, I can use the bathroom. Yesterday, I had to go desperately. If anybody in this room has ever had a side effect of Lasix, you know when you have to go, you have to go. 600 Smithfield denied me. The driver wanted to escort me to the 4th floor. We were denied. I said, I'm about to pop a squat either in front of your building. Gee, wonder why Smithfield smells like a urinal. So that happened. The Airstar drivers are not being trained properly. And by the way, you're offering the First Transit drivers $20 an hour and leaving Airstar drivers who are getting paid for less. You're creating a driver shortage. Airstar driver dropped me off in Oakland against the manifest, which I had on my phone. Dropped me in a location that I did not know where I was. When my concussion symptoms, which were active yesterday, are making me mashed potatoes, I was vulnerable. I did not know where I was. Luckily, I found somebody with the UPMC name tag who escorted me the way the driver was supposed to. And that's not the first time. The first time I went to the JCC in Squirrel Hill, that very same driver made me get off at Forbes Avenue. You're not allowed due to security reasons. And we all know what happened at Squirrel Hill and why they have security protocol. The mess of closing that 5th provider down simply for not taking out a sentence saying that you can't be a broker and a provider at the same time was not thought out.
Thank you, Ms. Mayfield. My next speaker is Kathleen Lynch.
My name is Kathleen Lynch. I work at Duquesne University. This is all part of the university line, and yet the Carlo students haven't picked up from service. The Pitt students still have bus service. The Carnegie Mellon students still have bus service. And yet the Duquesne students are being left out because all the buses are turning out crap. And now all the Duquesne students who live in Shadyside and Squirrel Hill, like myself, are going to be transferring at crap, or we have to wait for a bus to go directly to Duquesne University. Now, I've got one of your PRT electronic e-mobile bus tickets that we have. In exchange for getting a discounted bus service, I have to pay for transfers. So now the Duquesne students who are now forced to transfer because their bus service has been cut, they are going to have to pay twice. Now, my monthly thing from 2 trips for 5 days a week is about $70. I don't think my Duquesne students are going to be able to afford double that every month if they are forced to transfer. So hypothetically, if I can't change your mind, if these people can't change your mind on undoing all these changes, can you at least give us the UPass mobile ticketing system that can cover transfers? Because you guys are saying, don't worry about the transfers, use your Connect Pass and just transfer them. I gotta pay for transfers on mine. So other things before I get kicked off here. So let's see. When I moved to Squirrel Hill, you guys told me you guys have 3 options from here to Squirrel Hill to Duquesne. You guys got the 65 Express bus. You guys have the 61C, 61D. I've had situations where I couldn't take the 65 because it never showed up.
I have to get on the 61C, 61D. Have you ever been on those buses in Squirrel Hill during rush hour? It's filled with Carnegie students, Pitt students, Cobble students. No offense to them. I get it. They gotta go to school too. I can't get a seat. I have to wait until they all get off before I get a seat on the bus. So I've always taken the 65 bus. And now you guys are telling me, 65 bus, 15 minutes. Awesome. No problem. And now you guys are moving that bus stop. So now I have to get off closer to Mercy than Duquesne University. So now my commute just became longer, just for whatever reason you guys have. Some Duquesne students have already told me they're not going to transfer once you change the Laguna. If they have to transfer, they're going to just start driving to school. They're going to carpool. They're not going to use you guys anymore. So you guys are going to be losing all that money you guys are going to make from Duquesne University student. So.
You don't have to go 3 minutes figure that.
Yeah, I know. So let's see how much time I got left. Pop out. So those are all the complaints I've got. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Who's the Christmas? Christmas, I'm sorry.
Someday I'm gonna meet that author and go, I never read my name.
Actually, my master.
I forgot. Someone left their mask up here.
That's me.
Yeah, come on and get me that.
Hello, my name is Elisa Grishman. I am disabled, which is one of the populations the most negatively impacted by the upcoming PRT related service changes to bus schedules. And I live in the middle of Uptown, the neighborhood that's being the most harmed. With the cessation of the 71s A and C running through Uptown, historically low-income riders will be losing direct single ride access to affordable grocery stores, Kingside medical practices, including the Hillman Cancer Center, and large portions of the East End. Added with 61 and 71 Ds, and there's whole sections of the city that people can no longer easily access. With 4 homeless shelters and a soup kitchen, all located in my neighborhood, there are a large number of already disenfranchised cash fare riders who are simply going to lose access to the most basic of necessities, food and shelter, because they can't beg enough money to make the transfers to get around. I am personally about to lose single ride access to my grocery store. The response so far from the PRT folks is about how easy it is to just get off the bus, stand in the same spot, and get on a new bus. And that is some ableist bull. Yeah. Spouted by people who clearly never gotten on or off a bus in a wheelchair. First, you have to hope that the bus has enough room for you. When you get on the bus, you have to wait for a passenger to put up the seats because drivers are too pressed for time to get it themselves. Then you essentially parallel park. To get off again, you have to fight against people to stand in the front. Now imagine having to do that twice in each direction. Now add a bunch of grocery bags in the back of your chair. Excuse me, Brett. That you have to maneuver around so you don't break anything. That's what I have to deal with anytime I want a gallon of milk or a loaf of bread. All this is assuming that I can get on a bus in the first place. With the drastic reduction of buses that will be coming through Uptown, I'm concerned about there being too much overcrowding for me to be able to get on the bus in the first place. There's plenty of talk of all the alternate buses people can take from downtown to get to destinations in the East End to avoid the overcrowding issue, but that doesn't help those of us in the Uptown corridor who rely on really ought not feel like a limited number of routes. We don't have a plan B. Please do not eliminate the 71's A, C, and D, or the 61D running through Uptown. They're a lifeline to a community that's already in desperate need. Thank you.
Thank you. Jason, your floor, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, everyone. My name is Jason Larson. I'm a corporate resident of Beachview. I'd like to say a vote, which is one of the populations the most negatively impacted by the upcoming PRT related service changes to bus schedules.
Thanks, Mike. Whatever you just up with.
Of the board, hello. Full disclosure, I'm not a long-term resident. I've only been here since last November. As a resident of downtown, admittedly, I do have a number of redundant routes that give me some level of resiliency to some of the service cuts. With that being said, not every route that I've experienced when I've been taking the bus around has been of the same quality. P1, pretty good. 51, 48, also pretty good. 86, 88, only kind of okay. 91 is atrocious. 87 is worse. And the 71 and 61 have been of the level of quality of the P1, at least in terms of my experience. As somebody who doesn't have a car, I do rely on the bus network to get me to a bunch of different destinations. So the cuts that are happening, the frequency of the 61 and 71 are affecting me and some of the regular trips I take down to Oakland from downtown. I have heard that downtown is one of the neighborhoods that the city is looking to make into more of a residential area. As a recent resident of downtown, I just want to ask the question, are these cuts the first impression you want to give to new residents dealing with PRT? That's my question.
Darling, President of AT was 85, I'll take it there.
Yeah.
444. Before I begin, I want to congratulate the 17 operators who gave accommodation.
Yeah.
Today. Probably about 1,000 do it every day on a daily basis. Move this county. So good morning. My name is Ross Nicotero. I'm the president business agent of Local 85 here in Pittsburgh. I represent 2,200 members, operators, clerical, secretaries, and we move Allegheny County every day. I'm here to discuss the unfortunate situation that's going to unfold here at Port Authority in the next 72 hours. For over 2 years now, the schedule has been downright atrocious, absolutely atrocious. This will culminate on Sunday, October 1st. New operator pick and service changes will go in effect on that day. Starting on Sunday, 4 routes will terminate in Oakland rather than continue in the downtown district. 71A, C, D, 61 Wall End, and Oakland. This loss is approximately 300 seats going inbound and outbound every 15 minutes from Oakland to the CBD, the Central Business District. That's well over 1,200 potential riders every day. These riders include hospital workers, college students, senior citizens, high school students. Look behind you. A lot of them have special needs or need access. These are our members. These are the people that we ride. Is this what you want for the county? While I understand the university PRT line would be close to completion, this could possibly make sense. Like Ms. Kellerman said earlier in her remarks, we're 2 years away. We're in the infancy stage of this project. None of this comes as a surprise to me here at Local 85. My members come to work every day, provide service to the residents of Allegheny County, all the while not giving the resources to accomplish the tasks. Once again, Port Authority has zero accountability for the daily decisions they make. All I hear time and time again, that person doesn't report to me. This all starts from Catherine all the way down. I give you the idea. I recently spoke to Catherine, Lane County Executive, Mr. Fitzgerald, and asked during our conversations, I implored them, please hold off on these cuts. Do a repick. Once again, that fell on deaf ears. As the president of this union, I want you to all know, October 1st, when the service is at an all-time low, it is not Local 85 or any of my members' fault. The blame comes on you and falls on you directly unless you stop this at once. This organization has been mismanaged for years. Top heavy with managers in this building unequipped to make decisions. Wasteful spending and hiring people back. They couldn't accomplish the task the first time they were here. This will not come back on the backs of my members. Once again, you will come to us and need us to solve the problems that you create. This can only be achieved if you partner with us instead of excluding us and punishing myself and our members. I will be happy to answer any questions. No questions.
And do a lot of helping work for the home, people do not go to information, people in the service. But when I heard about the changes and I was really upset by them, me being a supporter of Porterfield, and I'm going to drive for services, everybody helps me be and gets me around. But the changes that are about to take effect are going to have an effect on a lot of people. From one, you have to get downtown and go to work, or to catch another bus to get to work. And that I don't call them the seniors, I call them savvy seniors. Those are the ones who want to retain their independence, like being able to get to where they need to want to be, like doctor's appointments, out and want to visit friends and family members also. And the person with disabilities, that I say ability, that's myself, who, want to still be able to get up and get out and do what they can't for themselves. And not having to allow other people that come until they have to do what they have to do. And they also have another thing in regards to the stroller incident. Now, I found out that they're not to keep baby strollers open on the buses, but I don't think it's to be allowed. Because I've been passed up 2 times to get on the bus to go to work because there were strollers in the wheelchair seating area. And I don't think that should be allowed personally. And also with these changes that are going to be coming, this is going to affect a lot of people, the students that go to school downtown. Meaning that I'm a parent myself. My child, you're already worried about them getting off the bus to go to school, and now having them have to get off the bus, catch another bus to get down to go to school. That puts a lot more worry on being a parent. And also to the person who has doctor's appointment and UPMC Mercy, or they can't get the doctor's appointment. And I know if you're late 10 minutes, they will cancel your appointment. You have emergency again. Even the student, I'm a college graduate. And, if you're late for a class, the professor will lock the door on if you're missing that class for that day. Well, I do know about that also. But these changes, they should not be allowed. I'm also speaking up for the people that live in the low income area that consists of African Americans from Wilkinsburg to Homewood. Cutting that 71D is going to hurt them drastically because everybody don't have a Connect card. That Connect card might have gotten lost. We have time to have one money on it. So you just round up enough money, get on the bus to get downtown, to go on the interview, or to go and catch another bus. If you want to visit a friend or a family member, or if you're going to the welfare office, it's located in downtown Pittsburgh. But now you have to pay an extra $275, another $275 to get there, then to get back home again too. And that's everybody don't have that extra money to be able to get on the bus and travel like that all. And one last thing, so you decided to do this when the weather is getting bad, fucking rain and it's Now, get off the bus in the rain and the snow and wait for another bus. And most of the time, I can get some drivers are wonderful, but they'll let the walking people on first. The people with disabilities, walkers, and wheelchairs, you get on last, so there is no more need for you to get on.
Hey, come on, girl. Come on, girl. Okay, next speaker is Deb. You may go ahead and check. Okay.
Hello, I've lived in many parts of the world and country, and Pittsburgh actually has a very good transit system. And in fact, when my car got totaled, I don't bother to buy a new one. First of all, living downtown, parking is about $300 a month, plus your car payment, plus. And I selected where I lived predominantly due to public transportation. And I take, I live kind of by the Kaufman's, Grant Forbes. And so not exactly low end living or anything like that, but catching a bus on Fifth Avenue, the 71 A or C, I can go to Giant Eagle, I can use C to go to Trader Joe's, Target, Whole Foods, and then come back downtown and just walk like a couple blocks to where I live. Now, based on where the alternatives are, I'd have to go to Liberty, which isn't close. And I'd also have to go by a lot of homeless people. And so therefore I'd have to carry a big cart because carrying 2 bags gets a little heavy. Last Friday, I did a sample because I've never seen the buses be particularly. And so I went down, I did the bus back, etc. And what I noted on a Friday is that the bus became standing room only to downtown. And so it's not like it's low occupied or anything like that. And I just found out about these changes, a few weeks ago based on a sign that was put there. And it sounds like you guys have been investigating this for a while, but obviously nobody tells the rider. And as I said, I selected where I live due to proximity to bus service. And this makes a big difference. On certain things I can find an alternative. 71 A and C, no. And as I said, the volume of passengers does not warrant stopping where you are not going fully downtown. And looking at your income statement, you guys have actually done better than your budgeted operating loss. So it's not a money issue. So I don't know. If you look around, they are trying to convert more buildings downtown into higher end residences. You've got the Clark thing a few doors away, you've got where I am at Kaufman. And so they're trying to build it up, but then you're reducing the transportation. And sometimes.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, next slide.
Good morning to everyone. Good morning to the board. My name is Verna Johnson. I took the time to come here today because I'm concerned about these changes you're proposing to the 61s and the 71s and the repercussion to bus riders, especially in neighborhoods on the east side of the city. By cutting off the number of buses by half, this is not going to improve transit service for people who rely on the bus. It is only making it harder to get from one destination to another. Cutting off the buses in full neighborhoods. This is PRT. Is this PRT's idea for making riders transit better for riders? Better for who? Not the riders. Let this be a community decision-making process. The riders for the PRT board or company did not ask the riders. You did not get any input from us because you didn't ask. We should have been able to vote on these changes. We should be a part of the process since the buses are for people like myself and others. I have a friend that has to take, her name is Judy, and she has to take 2 buses to go home because she can't walk. Many people, when they could have, they will have to now take 3 buses. Does PRT care that they are creating hardships for their riders? I am one of those people that will have to take 3 buses. And I don't appreciate and have to get off and get on another bus when I already have taken 2 buses already. You have not proven to us that the benefits of this PRT project outweighs the harm it will create uptown and East End neighborhoods by cutting off our service. I'm asking you to put yourself in our shoes. Would you be willing to take 3 buses from your home to get to downtown or uptown? Can you do it with groceries, small children in a wheelchair in the cold or rain? PRT Rapid Transit service increases travel times for riders who have to walk further to stops, risk being left in Oakland, and cause us to spend more money during a time of great economic hardship. This is not a complete or successful project. It is not a project riders can support or that PRT should be proud of.
Thank you.
We can do better.
That's great.
Okay, I want you all to imagine that you're at the waterfront shopping mall for November 2023. You're over here in a conversation between 2 people, Mr. Tourist and Mr. Pittsburgh Nice Guy. Mr. Tourist starts off, "Say, bud, can you help us out here? We want to go downtown, me and my 3 buddies, we're visiting, we want to see beautiful downtown, maybe go up to the point to our bus." The guy says, "Well, yeah, you can get 61D right over there." "Cool, man, that's pretty good. That sounds like a good transit system." "They take cards, right?" No, they don't take cards. No, we still just do cash, connect card. "Okay, well, welcome to the 1950s, but that's okay. We can afford to do that." Go to downtown. Wait, I have to tell you something. When you get to Oakland, you're gonna have to transfer to another bus. Transfer to another bus, because it's a different direction, right? No, this is the same direction, the same road and everything, but you got to transfer it and you gotta pay again. I gotta pay again? Are we gonna free transfer? No, you pay cash, so you gotta pay again. It's like $5.50 for each of us. It's like 4 of us, times $5.50, $22, right? Yeah. Okay, all right, we can afford to do that. So let's go, guys. Wait. You said something about you wanted to go to the point up to Mount Washington or something? Yeah, we're gonna transfer for that. No, you don't get transfer for that either. You gotta pay again. I gotta pay again. You told me I gotta pay $275 again. You got another bus to go up and see the point and spend a lot of money downtown as a tourist. Yeah. I'm sorry, that's what you're gonna have to do. So that's like $33 I'm gonna spend. Yeah, that's about what you're gonna spend to pay cash. Well, that really sucks, but okay, we can do that. It'll get us back home. We're back at the hotel revenue we're staying. We do get a free transfer to go back, don't we? No, you're gonna have to do that again. This is a joke, right? This is a modern version of Candy camera. There's a camera here somewhere, right? What are you filming for? This is a skit. No, it's real. I'm sorry to tell you that, but this is real. That's how much you're gonna have to pay. Wait a minute, let me do the math here. 6 times 12 times. You're telling me I gotta pay $66 to get on buses to go downtown and spend a bunch of money with my 3 buddies and to come back to our hotel. Yeah. Sorry to say that, but that's what it's gonna cost you. Wait. Louis, call an Uber or a taxi or something. It's a whole bunch. We can't afford to ride the bus in this town. See you later, bud. Thanks. Wait. What? Welcome to Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I just think. Okay, our next speaker is Gina Anderson.
Hi, board members. Good morning. Thanks for hearing from all of us. My name is Gina Anderson. I live in Highland Park.
I'm a certified urban planner and I have lived and worked in Hong Kong, Singapore, and Bombay, and also worked in Kazakhstan, Johannesburg, South Africa, Costa Rica. So I just wanted to say a couple things. The first one is from a BRT planning point of view. The project as it is not going to gain the speeds that would be called a BRT. It will not be rapid. When a BRT system is put together, there are three paramount things. It has to have a fully dedicated busway. That means grade separated or by a fence. It also has to have an intersection. It has to have not just priority signals, but also no turning allowed across the busway. And finally, the stations need to be, and actually the buses need to be made so that boarding is straight on and straight off. There's no grade separation, there's no step, and that they're wide doorways on the vehicle. So the way it's being planned, it's not going to be fast. I'm sure there will be some kind of savings in time, but it's not going to be that much. And then when you put in a transfers, right, anytime there's a grade separation, people have to go up or down. They're not just, it's a I'm sorry. They're even less likely to take the bus. So some people have alluded to or said, yes, people who have a choice, like in Highland Park, they're not going to take the bus. It's too much. On the other hand, there are solutions, and there are great BRT systems worldwide that have this type of operation. What I've said is it's not really a BRT, but an express and a local line for all of those 8 would be fine. Or the 61s probably run, I'm getting into the weeds here. The 61s probably have enough length together that a couple of them could be run local, a couple express, which means skipping 3 to 5 stops. And that could also be done with the 71A and B and the 71C and D. So really what I'm surprised about is why it's being decided this way, because there is not going to be significant time savings, and there's going to be a lot of penalties to the riders. So, and I guess finally, Pittsburgh has a lot of great assets. I love being here. Thank you very much. But to be a world-class city, we need world-class transit.
Hi, I'm Gabriel McMorland. I'm excited to be here on the day we're celebrating the operators. They're really like a life-changing, life-saving force in my life. Great job, everyone. And also, I'm disappointed that it's been at least 5, maybe 7 years of sort of circular justifications for why we need the BRT. And as yet, it's totally unclear to me what the benefit of the project overall is supposed to be and what this population of people is who needs it. I've never actually heard anyone say, oh no, I really need to be able to get faster from downtown to Oakland or vice versa. I'm a blind trans woman who has been riding the bus in Pittsburgh since I was born, or shortly thereafter. And this is going to make my life more difficult, and it's going to take even more time away from my daily routine that I don't have, and it's going to make me less safe. And when you think about it, system-wide, as CEO Cullen said earlier in her somewhat insulting remarks, I'm sort of in the middle of the group of people who will be affected. Clearly, the predominantly Black and low-income communities further out in the extent, and uptown are going to be more affected. And low-income service workers doing a 10, 12-hour shift, and then coming back and then transferred. You know, I'm already going to have a hard enough time, and they're going to be worse off. Something I want to point out is that even in this sort of cherry-picked scenario that was referenced earlier, where someone's only going to be waiting 5 minutes longer for a bus, you're going just around the corner. Really, we're talking about maybe waiting 15, 20, 30 minutes in a thunderstorm in Oakland, or on sort of hypervigilance for interactions with drunken frat boys. Oakland is crowded and it's chaotic. And when I wait there to take the bus, including when I was a student, very often the whole crowd of people ends up on the bus before I am, and then I'm waiting for the next one. I'm not very big, and I can't really see what's going on. And I certainly have the right to ride the bus too. So also, I think we all know that even if theoretically, for an energetic and fit, motivated, able-bodied young adult, it's only 5 minutes walk to the next bus stop.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next speaker is Fred Merkner.
Morning, everyone. My name is Fred Merkner, retired Port Authority service planner and scheduler. I get no pleasure from speaking before you today, but it's my duty to speak out on behalf of transit riders, our city, and out of concern and loyalty to this organization, for which I worked 32 and a half years. I am here to object to the October 1st, 2023 service plan for 61D, 71 AC and D as proposed. For many riders, the imposition of a forced transfer brought about by short-turning these routes in Oakland negates any improvement promised by the Bus Rapid Transit Project. PRT's website has stated that the project purpose is to improve regional, neighborhood, and job connectivity. But short-turning actually severs connections. It has been stated that travel times will be enhanced and service easier to use. But short-turning and forced transfers actually lengthen door-to-door travel times and make transit trips more complex and stressful. It is stated that travel time variability will be reduced. That's impossible because transfers increase variability in travel time. Many riders will have to wait for a second bus, risk a misconnection in Oakland, and endure increased and uncertain travel times. The reduction of bunching has been a stated goal. However, the published trip schedules show many instances of scheduled bunching. Many outbound route pairs are scheduled to depart Oakland within a few minutes of each other, if not precisely at the same time, followed by long gaps in service. The result will likely be extended wait times, greater crowding at Oakland bus stops, uneven passenger loads, and overcrowding. Scheduled bunching will be particularly ominous for outbound riders being forced to transfer. They could miss all of their connections within a 5-minute period and be forced to wait as much as another 30 minutes. For this project to be truly successful, all riders of the 61s and 71s must see a benefit. If many of these riders actually have a worse experience, the project may be deemed a boondoggle and failure. PRT will likely lose the public trust, be accused of wasting millions of dollars, and most tragically be seen as mismanaging the transit system by selling the public an improvement project that actually made the transit experience worse. Nobody wants that. We all want improvement and success. To that end, so that all riders benefit, I urge Pittsburgh Regional Transit to cancel the October 1st service changes and restore the current route structure of the 61 and 71 series bus routes. Don't sabotage the Bus Rapid Transit project. Make this project work for everyone.
Yeah. Yes, I have you on the list now. Ralph?
There we go. Yes, hello. Yes, hello. Thank you for having me here today. And it's great to be back here at the board meeting. The reason I want to speak today is I want to thank the board. I want to thank them for taking away the COVID policy and bringing back the drivers that were fired. That was wrong to do that to begin with. I have been coming to these board meetings and speaking on this many, many times. And finally, my message got through, and I'm glad, and I'm happy for it. But PRT has egg on their face, and let me tell you why. Because all these folks here today and this morning have been speaking up about this BRT. It's not going to work. The service plan's not going to work, and it looks obvious that there's everyone around here that's here today doesn't want this BRT because it's going to cost too much for them to ride. All right, this has to be rearranged. And also, when you say you're going to do service adjustments and then do cuts, there's something wrong with that language. So you need to bring in some kind of language that everyone understands, that instead of covering it up and saying we're going to make adjustments and you make cuts, that's wrong. And people don't like that. So you guys need to fix some of this stuff and fix it now. All right. Catherine talks about moving people. Well, you can move people, but when people have to wait to be moved, that's a problem. Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you, Ralph.
Thank you very much. My name is Laura Chu Williams. I'm the director of Pittsburgh's for Public Transit. And I want to start by saying that we lost a great one. Yesterday, Miss Lisa Gonzalez, who was a freedom fighter, who was a transit rider champion, who went to DC to address Secretary Buttigieg, the call for COVID relief funding for Port Authority and for riders to get relief and expansion of service through federal operating funds, passed away yesterday. So we're sitting with that grief. I also want to appreciate that many changes that PPT recommended in 2020 around improving board meeting access have just been implemented. So thank you. We look forward to more progress on that front. But I'm here today to ask what kind of relationship PRT wants to have with its riders. Last minute notification to affected riders of an imminent harm and then implementing that harm despite robust community outcry does not build goodwill. Most affected riders learned about this proposal from the bus signs that were in affected corridors hung in mid-August. And that was also the first time the public was made aware changes were proposed for October 1st, more than 2 years in advance of the implementation of the BRT. So while we can applaud PRT's current outreach process, it's puzzling why this level of outreach was not done in December or January when the public was ostensibly supposed to respond to the changes. And despite that, over 600 riders expressed opposition to these proposed changes. Or that the current responses by affected riders who are newly aware of this proposal are not being counted as feedback. The attendance here today is not representative of the whole scope of service impact. A Facebook post with a photo of just the PRT bus stop flyer by Amber Sloan, a prominent local Black community leader, received 654 shares on Facebook, with posters each detailing how those cuts are going to harm their commutes and essential trips to healthcare, schooling, and childcare. There are 100 transit riders laying out the harm they will experience from this proposal at PRT's Q&A session on the 12th, a virtual meeting that was only shared by PRT through online channels beginning 2 weeks in advance. That's more individuals than attended any single public comment meeting in December or January about the whole scope of BRT service changes. These numbers are data about service change impact that should be deeply concerning to the PRT leadership and board. PRT's position appears to be that hopefully not too many people, despite the evidence to the contrary, will be affected, but also too bad for those folks. They should have spoken up against the proposal at a time that they didn't know about it. We can't experiment with people's access. The harms from these cuts will be irreversible, even if the service cuts are reversed in 6 months. To the board and the PRT leadership, it is in your power right now to stop the service cuts or at least postpone their implementation while the service plan is reconsidered. Labor is willing to take an unprecedented step to stave off this disaster, and riders will celebrate you for listening, for understanding that PRT is in dialogue with, if not in service to, the community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. My name is Seth Bush. I live in Swissvale. I will be reading testimony for Mr. Bill McDowell, who could not attend today because he is at a critical doctor's appointment. This is Bill's testimony. Thank you for the opportunity to testify this morning on this very important transportation issue. I live on the north side of Pittsburgh and have been a decades-long rider of fixed route public transportation. I have been a member of PRT's Committee for Accessible Transportation, CAT, for many years, advocating accessibility needs for me as with a disability and for others with disabilities. I am also a member of Oakland for All, which advocates awareness of the ADA, community accessibility, and infrastructure. PRT's idea to have buses turn around in Oakland is just simply a bad idea. Making people transfer twice, which adds more time to their trip, is a bad idea. Don't make it more inconvenient to travel. I have a disability, and in winter, inclement weather, you're going to make me get off the bus and transfer again? No, I just won't do it. I won't take the bus. This isn't good public transportation service. If this change is implemented, I will be forced to look for other means of transportation. Do not implement this change to have people transferring over. Again, thank you for this opportunity to provide my comments on this important issue for me, for others with disabilities. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Morgan Stowski. I am a community member and a transit rider. I'm here today to do the transit system that works for all of us. The BRT does not do that. I will be referencing the downtown, uptown, Oakland bus rapid transit project, major service changes, Title VI service equity analysis that PRT published in 2022. If you don't be familiar with it, I'm going to read it. The analysis begins by stating that Title VI is a federal statute that provides that no person shall, on the ground of race, color, or national origin, be excluded from participation in, be denied the benefits of, or be subjected to discrimination under any program or activity receiving federal financial assistance. Even though low-income populations are not a protected class under Title VI, the Federal Transit Administration also requires transit providers to evaluate proposed service changes to determine whether low-income populations will bear a disproportionate burden of changes. PRT's 2022 analysis concluded that there will be, and I quote, disproportionate burden for low-income populations, end quote, on every proposed route change. I'm going to say that again. PRT conducted a Title VI equity analysis that definitively found that route changes to the 61B, 71A, 71C, and 71D will have a disproportionate burden for low-income populations. The analysis ends with the mitigation section, but nowhere in this section does PRT address the burden that cash paying riders needing a transfer will face. Because PRT did away with payment tickets, cash payers will need to pay for a transfer. That is an $11 round trip for those riders. $11 in one day for someone that is low income. According to PRT's Title VI fare equity analysis delivered in June of 2021, 39% of cash paying riders are low income. Thousands of people will be affected. It is egregious that this project is being implemented, considering the huge burden this is placing on the poorest riders. I demand that the board stop the implementation of this BRT project. Thank you.
Gallagher?
Good morning. My name is Nicole Gallagher. I'm a community organizer with Pittsburghers for Public Transit. The last few weeks, I have been riding the 71s and 61D. I've been talking to riders, bus operators. I have been leafleting at bus stops. So what I bring to you right now is some of what I've heard. We want a BRT system that brings more access, not less. We want better service, not worse. For riders on the 71A, C, D, and 61D, critical locations, access to critical locations in Uptown, like PPG Paints Arenas, Mercy Hospital, and Duquesne University will be cut nearly in half. Not to mention if you live in Uptown. Direct access to locations in so many neighborhoods of the East End, parts of Shadyside, parts of Highland Park, parts of Homewood, see where else, Point Breeze, Park Place, Larimer, Wilkinsburg. Forgive me if I've left out a neighborhood that you can no longer get to directly from Uptown, but they are going to be impacted severely. Not to mention the wait lines and the overcrowding on the remaining bus lines that will run that corridor. Transit costs are going to double for cash paying riders. We've heard that. So they will double for worse service. Congratulations, riders who pay cash. These new transfers are going to add travel time. Generally, they're making people's bus trips uncertain. You're getting off a bus, you're going to wait. How long? What's going to happen? What is a minor inconvenience for someone who's able-bodied is a terrible hardship for some of our most vulnerable population, people with the most access needs, people with disabilities, older adults, parents with children. I mean, even if you are riding with groceries, this is a hardship. And operators. So I was told on a bus by an operator who has been with you for a couple of decades now. She said, I wish PRT rode the bus and asked me how I felt about things. Thank you. But that's not all I've heard from operators. That was one operator. The majority of folks brought up two things. What this is going to do with traffic congestion and being on the streets, and what this is going to do for a schedule that is unreasonable and they cannot meet. That's what's happening now. They cannot meet this schedule. So now we are bringing traffic and changes and congestion. They did not feel confident or supported in that change. And worse yet.
Okay, thank you. Our next speaker is
Hello, can you hear me?
I'm sorry.
Okay.
No.
My name is Morgan Boyd. Wait, which one is this? Okay. My name is Morgan Boyer. I've used the public transit in Pittsburgh for the past 10 years since I started university at Carlow. Speaking of university, this is probably the worst time to start construction on this project, given that students are just going back to class. So screw you. Public transit in America is a major shortcoming, especially in Pittsburgh. According to Travel and Leisure magazine, the US is not even listed in the top 15 nations, despite being one of the wealthiest in the world. Business Insider's list of best cities for public transit in America alone does not even list Pittsburgh. There is no incentive for people to trust or use public transit. So funding gets cut, rails get even crappier, and so people get less interested in using public transit. Here's the thing, it does not have to be this way. We have a growing tech sector. We have cutting edge Medicare and an educated population. We can fund buses. We just have to give a fuck. Sorry, okay, well, thank you.
Last call for Emily Logan. Joey, why don't you take her spot?
Morning, I want to thank the board for taking the time to listen to all of us today. To thank the bus drivers that work very, very hard. I'm gonna get lifelong public transit advocate and writer, and I value this service. What I am very concerned about, and I oppose the upcoming BRT construction implementation. I live in the city's Hazelwood neighborhood, which is next to Homestead and the Mars Valley. Where one of the 61 C and D roads are gonna be cut and adversely affect a lot of people. I'm particularly concerned about the 53 to 59, 93 cuts that have been mentioned. Public transit is a lifeline. In fact, that's why I was late today to a lot of hospital services, particularly folks with disabilities. You have the PVR. I'm a deaf individual, thank you for getting that interpreter, but Center for Hearing and Deafness along the corridor, you're cutting the 71 A, B, C, and D, and a lot of us can't get to cancer care. I'm a cancer patient, but basis like the Tillman Cancer Center. Hard for us to go grocery shopping. The 53 of you runs every 2 hours in Homestead. A lot of senior citizens live in Allegheny County and up that hill in Homestead. Cutting the 59, they're cutting the 93 that provides access to Lawrenceburg Children's Hospital. To a lot of other services and pages cited connections to child riders in the middle of winter time, especially with COVID rates going up in Allegheny County, you have a lot of disabled and older populations. Getting sick and it's widely spreading. I'm very concerned about that. Telling people they have to catch 2 or 3 buses in case of the risk of catching contagious diseases. It's a hardship in the winter time, causes people to miss work, school, and many appointments. There's not the infrastructure. Someone mentioned Title VI with the accessible walk signs around the Mercy Hospital and other necessary health corridors, especially with the BVR and the vision center that's at Mercy, plus a whole host of other services. There's healthcare even in this building. This doctor's office right off the hall from here on 5. It just blocks so many people from getting access to life needed and health sustaining medicine, to healthcare that's present. It's montefiore, it's people giving birth to the Mercy Hospital, a whole host of other services. I'm deeply concerned about the impact it's going to have to ask and access bus, a block or a BRT bus is going to be. It's going to make people even later to work, and it's not fair to put that into the disabled population. And I know my time's almost up, but I want to thank you for taking the time to listen to my concerns. I'm asking you to please reconsider these changes and please allow the non-effective. Thank you. Please, Andrew, Andrew, I know you're not here. Are you online? Andrew? Coming on? Andrew White?
He's on.
He's on. Andrew, you speak up? Andrew, last call. You gotta move on. All right, next one's Bill McDowell.
You had spoken for by Senator.
Oh, I'm sorry. Bridget Hughes.
My name is Bridget Hughes. I'm a transit rider and member of Pittsburghers for Public Transit. And today,
Hello.
Oh, sorry. Hello?
Okay, Bridget, you can hear you. Okay. Bridget, Andrew, if you're on, I don't know if you're on or not, but you're gonna have to wait up to Bridget's presentation.
All right, sorry.
Yeah, we started time.
Today I'll be speaking on behalf of Daniel Melder. This is his written testimony. Dear members of the Pittsburgh Regional Transit Board, I am writing to present a comprehensive testimony in strong opposition to the proposed termination of Route 61D and 71A, 71C, and 71D in Oakland, a decision that would effectively eliminate their service to downtown and uptown. This proposed change would have far-reaching and devastating consequences for the already underserved and, arguably, the most underprivileged communities in the city of Pittsburgh. It is essential to emphasize that this is not just a matter of bus routes, but a matter of social equity, access to essential services, and the well-being of our fellow residents. Number one, impact on healthcare access. Oakland is home to numerous medical facilities and clinics that serve as lifelines for residents and individuals across the city. The proposed termination of these routes would significantly hinder access to healthcare for vulnerable populations. Many people rely on public transportation to reach their medical appointments, and any disruption to these routes would place an undue burden on those who are already facing health disparities. Number two, impact on access to grocery stores. Accessible grocery stores are vital for every community's health and well-being. By eliminating these routes, we would further limit access to affordable and nutritious food options for the residents of downtown and uptown. This would exacerbate issues of food insecurity and disproportionately affect low-income individuals and families. Number three, impact on employment opportunities. Public transportation is a lifeline for many residents, particularly those in underserved areas, to access job opportunities. The proposed termination of these routes would create additional barriers to employment for individuals who are already struggling to secure stable and gainful employment. Number four, impact on educational access. Oakland is a major educational hub, hosting several universities and colleges. These bus routes are essential for students and faculty to reach their institutions. Eliminating these routes would not only hinder educational access, but also limit opportunities for students to pursue higher education and career advancement. Number five, impact on access to shelter and social services. Many individuals rely on public transportation to access shelters and social services that provide crucial support to those experiencing homelessness or facing social challenges. The termination of these routes would limit their ability to access these vital resources, pushing them further into vulnerability. Number six, impact on social cohesion. Public transportation serves as a social connector, allowing individuals from diverse backgrounds to interact and build a sense of community. The proposed termination of these routes would isolate residents and further erode the sense of belonging in these neighborhoods, contributing to social fragmentation. In conclusion, it is paramount to acknowledge that the proposed elimination of routes 61D and 71A, 71C, and 71D in Oakland is not merely a transportation issue,
Thank you.
but a profound social justice issue.
Right. Are you there now?
Yes,
Eric? Andrew is saying, go.
yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead and start.
All right, so enough people have talked about the BRT, and I'm not saying that the BRT is good because I think we all agree, the majority of us in attendance, that the BRT, particularly the service components, so far have their problems. So instead, I'm going to pivot to other issues. One that my colleague earlier, Ralph Williams, had mentioned from Transit Council, which is the language related to service changes, is often unclear and frankly BS. It's like PRT will go out of their way to call service cuts anything but cuts or reductions. It's like asking you to be clear about cuts is like asking you to give up a limb or something. So the language needs to be more factual and transparent with that. And in regards to October 1st changes, besides the BRT being used as an excuse to shorten routes, there's other routes with upcoming changes that are being snuck in that are unacceptable, or even a complete surprise to some people. One example is the proposed upcoming changes on the 77 for this Sunday. You're cutting some of the morning trips and some of the night trips and not telling people under the guise of rerouting the route just to give drivers a layover in downtown because the route is too long to go from Monroeville to downtown back to Monroeville with no bathroom, which I'm fine with giving the drivers a break, but don't make that break come at the expense of the rider. And since people have also mentioned our amazing drivers, who, thank goodness, there's some like the ones who have been appreciated and given awards this morning, but you're throwing drivers under the bus still, because on the 54 changes coming up, you say point blank to the public for the first time ever, point blank, you say, at the request of the Port Authority Driver Scheduling Committee. You threw drivers under the bus. That the 54 is going to have multiple trips on multiple days, cut or combined on it, which means you're now expecting one bus to do the work of 2 or 3 trips. And most people don't know unless they do deep dives, which thank God I'm part of multiple transit groups that do blogs. And we spent 3 days deep diving into Port Authority schedules that they did not transparently convey to the public. Oh, these changes or adjustments? No, we're cutting trips. We're combining trips. Have fun using one bus to do the work of 2 or 3.
Thank you, Andrew. Your time is up. Our next speaker is Karen Smith. Karen Smith? Go.
Thank you. My name is Karen Smith. Thank you for letting me speak today. Yeah, I utilize the buses that are over in the Carnegie area. But as I was hearing, a lot of issues has popped up. Well, anyway, the issues have been ongoing since the early 1990s, as I and some other people have gone to Harrisburg on many occasions to rally for dedicated funding and keep the buses running. As I'm seeing, if instead of adding on to the issues, how about taking care of the issues that are already there before you create new ones? Because you're double booking yourself on all the issues. You just can't keep on like topping one on the other, thinking the old ones are going to go away. Oh no, you have to take care of them before you make new ones. But also, instead of spending money on other projects and that, how about fixing the ones that are already needing fixing, like our buses? Some keep breaking down, and sometimes the ramps don't work, and you got. I was on one bus where a ramp didn't work, and I had to literally drive off of the bus onto the sidewalk. And it was at one of the busways. And I actually, the 61C, as I'm hearing, I don't know if that's going to be on DOT or not, but if it is, how many people do you know take that 61C to go to Kennywood? How's that going to affect, the majority of the people who go to Kennywood pay more to go on the bus to go to Kennywood than they would any other amusement park. And then Duquesne, that's the only bus that really technically goes through, in the general area of, Duquesne. Might be another one, but I'm not sure. But anyway, 59 was taken off, but it was brought back due to the fact that someone advocated strongly about it. So we all strongly advocate to not do the changes from October 1st and make sure that, the BRT is going to go the way it should go and not have any downfalls. Then we should all advocate for that. Thank you very much.
Or you take a shot.
So is this the one you speak through, or is that? Which one? Okay, hi there. Good morning. My name is Linda Van Buren. I live in the West End and depend on public transportation to access all my needs. I live a very active lifestyle and take full advantage of all the amenities this city has to offer. I am truly troubled and concerned about the service changes in the 71s. My bus options will be cut in half. Now picture this, I live in the West End and my pharmacy, Evers, on Fifth Avenue in Oakland is the only location where I can purchase very particular items I need. I also travel to the co-op similarly for things I cannot purchase elsewhere. I attend yoga classes in Uptown and dance classes in Homewood. These activities and locations are essential for me to live a healthy, balanced life. I already face the same issues other transit riders face. Late overcrowded buses, travel across town for groceries. But now you're telling me I have to get off the bus and transfer or walk further to find a one-seat option downtown. I have a street crossing phobia due to being hit by a car when I was young. I'm very vigilant and on edge when it comes to crossing the street, waiting at bus stops, etc. I'm even more anxious about my safety when I think about managing my commute with these new routes. I don't understand why these changes are happening or who will benefit. I just know that I am going to have to make a lot of changes now too, and that my quality of life will be severely impacted. I ask that you reconsider these cuts before they ruin thousands of lives. Thank you.
Thank you. Wayne Houston. 3 times on Wayne Houston. And our final speaker is Joe Janusik.
Hi, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Great. Thank you. I thought you were saving the best for last, but after hearing all these speakers, that is clearly not the case. It's been really impressive hearing some of the folks talk today and hear their voices. First off, I just want to congratulate all the operators that got their award today. It's great that we can recognize our employees for hard work and service to the community. I want to make a note. I'm looking at the meetings coming up, and on the agenda, you have October 27th is the next meeting. On the website, it says October 17th. So if that could get cleaned up, that'd be great. I want to apologize for not being able to attend in person. I was hoping I could, but last business day of the month and me being a banker, I have another computer over here that I've been staring at the whole time. So I could not be there, but I would try to in the future. I'm not here in an official capacity for Bethel Park. I am a councilman in Ward 5, which covers the northern tip. So I have Upper St. Clair, Mount Lebanon, Castle Shannon, Whitehall, and Baldwin. I also have the Washington Junction trolley stop in my ward. So great interest in this. As you know, Bethel Park has great interest in the Silver Line as one of the key amenities available to our residents. And so I'm not here looking to be involved in any of the decisions. I know it's a long time thing or be included in any of the decisions the PRT makes, but I would like to be a partner with PRT on these discussions so that we can stay informed and make long-term plans accordingly. We have a long-term comprehensive plan in Bethel Park around the trolley line, believe it or not. We just got a grant awarded for an active transportation plan that we're going to be getting into in earnest. We also approved an economic development steering committee that hopefully is going to turn into an authority. And they are going to all be involved in this. It's all for the future. And so with that, that's all. I just wanted to, let you know I'm here and I'm interested in what you guys are going to be talking about regarding the Silver Line going down the road here, or down the track, I should say. And I'll be an interested observer, and I will try to attend in person as I can and try to meet some of you folks. I have met you in various conferences over the last couple of years. So, just to put my face there. And that's all I had. Please feel free to reach out. Again, my name is Joe Janusik. I'm the councilman for Ward 5 here in Bethel Park. And again, looking for a partnership with PRT. So thanks again for the time. I appreciate everything you do. And this meeting was an eye-opener for me. So take care, everyone, and have a great weekend.
Thank you. With that, we're going to move to the authorization to approve the Title VI analysis. So, for October 23, the service change of this mystery again is the Route 17. So, John, will you take it from here?
Thank you. First of all, as chair of the Planning and Stakeholders Relations Committee, I appreciate all the testimony for her today. And but again, back to what Jeff was saying, what we're considering today is the changes to the P17 and the P79. if you think are positive change. But anyway, Mr. Chairman, the resolution requested the approval of the Title VI analysis of October 2023 major service changes to Route E17 Lake Fire.
I have a motion. Is there a second? Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Any opposed?
Yeah, no.
The motion carries. That ends our business meeting. The next regular meeting will be Friday, October 27th, 2023. And that we stand.